like 50% less time, because now you don't have to be gathering the information in different sources. You just go in one place and you can analyze the information there. From Olvy, we are getting a bunch of notices on technical improvements that we need to do on the product, right? In Discord, for example, the developers are reporting different issues that they have, and that's something that helps us basically create the backlog of technical improvements that we need to do.
Hey Mark, thanks for joining in for this exclusive case study that you're doing with Olvy. I'm pretty grateful to all the feedback that you've given and have been part of the initial journey of Olvy. So just to sort of begin with, can you briefly describe your role at Ready Player Me and how you sort of interact with any kind of feedback management systems right now in Ready Player Me?
Yeah, so I am Marc, I am the head of product at Ready Player Me. Ready Player Me is basically a company that's building an avatar solution that any company can implement for providing avatars and an avatar creator, a complex avatar creator to their users. And right now it's used by many different applications, thousands of applications. Some of them are video games, some of them are educational applications, social networks, like all sorts of applications. Here at Ready Player Me, as head of product, I'm basically managing the product team, and that's made of product managers, product designers, product analysts. That's the core of the product team. And of course, as a product team, we are the central point that's basically trying to align the company's strategy and vision with more actionable roadmaps into different product verticals. We are interacting with all the rest of the departments, so we are working very closely with the engineering team, we are working with our art team, marketing team, and so on. We are also a startup that has been growing for the last 2 years. Right now we are more than 70 people. And the way we are organizing our work is that basically we have what we call domains. And domains are multidisciplinary teams that are led by a lead engineer and a product manager working on a specific roadmap. Until we started using Olvy, we basically, for each domain, we were gathering feedback from multiple sources. That was a bit chaotic, but basically we were running our own surveys. We also had some survey widgets that were collecting feedback from the website. We also had and have calls with customers where we were basically taking notes. And so the feedback was scattered, I would say, into many different places, if that makes sense.
If you have to describe the importance of user feedback in your product development process, how would that be? How do you look at these qualitative feedback as of now in terms of your product building lifecycle?
It's extremely important. It's so important that a few months ago we even included one value among our company values that's fully focused on becoming more customer-centric. We start with the customer in mind, and it's so important for us that we wanted to have it along our other company values, right? We want to make sure that we are very, let's say, customer obsessed, and we are trying to bring value to our customers rather than just building random things.
What was basically the pre-Olvy challenges, right? For example, before implementing Olvy, what were the main challenges you faced in collecting and analyzing these user feedback?
The biggest challenge before we started using Olvy, and that's the reason why I started exploring solutions and came to Olvy, is, as I said before, that our feedback was super scattered. So we had the feedback that the product team was directly collecting when talking with the developers. That's something that we were documenting in our knowledge database. In that case, it's Notion. Then our sales team was also collecting their feedback during the sales prospecting. That was documented in HubSpot. So then our customer support team was also collecting their own feedback, and that was documented into HubSpot, but different place. We also have our own Discord channel, our own Discord community, a lot of feedback from our developers coming through that place. We were also collecting feedback directly from the end users with some ad hoc surveys and for that we were using Hotjar. So as you can see, I'm already like mentioning that we had like different tools. We also had, I forget to mention that, we also had Slack channels with different customers that they were providing, of course, like direct input there. We were collecting feedback from company colleagues, like people that are, of course, like working at Ready Player Me, and they also have like very valuable inputs. And that was also like scattered either in like personal conversations, Slack channels, and other like company venues and processes that we had in place. So all in all, like the feedback was super scattered, and there were two problems with that. The first problem was the amount of time that it would take for you to properly analyze this thing. The main effect of having the feedback so scattered is that you ended up like only looking at certain sources, and you were forgetting from other sources, right? So people tend to look more at the sources they are more familiar with. So it might be, for example, that the product team is mostly using with Notion. They were looking at this, but they were forgetting some of the other sources. The other challenge that come with it was, as I said, like feedback that got lost. So on one hand, it was like the amount of time that you were investing, but more important than that, the amount of missed opportunities or important things that were going under the radar. And that's something that for me became more and more concerning, because it was not about generating an influx of feedback. It was more about making sure that we were properly looking at the whole picture. But I would say that we were investing a good amount of time, especially when we were doing like quarterly planning. It's something that could take you like 1 or 2 days full time of people like really working on that, right? Like just like make sure that you were like going to places, scanning, gathering the feedback, then processing this so that you could digest this for creating your roadmap.
And what are some of the integrations that you're currently using? How was the experience in setting up these automations with Discord and Slack?
So what we did when we started using Olvy, in order to gather all this information, that was for us like one of the main benefits that we saw from using Olvy, we basically started integrating in different places. So on one hand, we have it in Discord, where basically we have a dedicated channel there. People can send the feedback. That's something that we are automatically collecting. There's also this possibility of pushing feedback into the web. We integrated it in Slack as well, and then what we did was we already had a feedback channel. We actually had a few feedback channels, and what we ended up doing was unifying all these different feedback channels into one single feedback channel that's used at a company level, so anyone can go there and share their feedback directly. But also what we did was training our sales team for using this channel for pushing the feedback that they were getting from the calls. We have integration also with HubSpot, so it's, if I remember correctly, because we are using Zapier for some automations that are sending the information there. We are also using the feedback widgets as well, and we are also like adding feedback manually.
Like, how has Olvy influenced your product development decisions or strategy as of now?
What I can tell for sure is that as a head of product right now, I feel more confident that at least we have one central place where we are gathering feedback. That's something that each product manager right now, it's one of their sources of information when coming up with the quarterly goals. But it also, for me as a head of product, it's a central place where I can go inside, check different things, get what's the mood from different aspects of the product, right? Which is something that before it was difficult to do because, again, like the information was really, really scattered.
Since you have integrated Olvy, have you noticed a decrease in the time spent on feedback analysis? If yes, any estimated time saved or something like that you can think of?
For sure, like the time decreased just for the amount of time that you are doing the information gathering. So I think that it's more like qualitative, like now we are spending more time on qualitative analysis rather than gathering the information. So if anything, you can say like maybe it's like 50% less time, because now you don't have to be gathering the information in different sources. You just go in one place and you can analyze the information there. The AI helps, but of course, like this is something that it's getting better, and you guys have been working on improving that.
Can you specific instance where insights from Olvy led to a significant sort of product improvement or something like that?
We are getting, for example, from Olvy, we are getting a bunch of notices on technical improvements that we need to do on the product, right? In Discord, for example, the developers are reporting different issues that they have, and that's something that helps us basically create the backlog of technical improvements that we need to do.
So, any specific feature of Olvy that stands out most to you, and why?
Aside from the obvious ones that we discussed, something that we have started using recently is the feedback widget. We are about to launch the first feedback survey using Olvy. The reason why we decided to basically like move into the widget, there were two reasons. One is that we were using a different service for collecting feedback, and we realized that you guys were providing that solution as well. That was already inside our company plan that we have with Olvy, so it doesn't make sense to have like these redundancies, right? Like really pay for different services that provide the same. But more important than that is that by using your widget, it basically seamlessly integrates the collection and feedback processing in one place, right? Like we don't need to make any automations or anything. It's cool that the widget also comes with visual personalization options, which is something that helps us make it feel more native. So as I said, on one hand we have the feedback collecting. That was like the very first thing that we wanted to solve, and now like the team or the company team has been trained for funneling things into the proper place. That's already like giving us way more confidence that now we are gathering the feedback in place. Then every one of our product managers has a seat in Olvy, so proactively they can be checking the feedbacks that are arriving, especially the ones that are relevant for their areas of expertise, their areas that they are handling. And that's something that's happening, I would say, like on daily or weekly basis, right? But on top of that, I guess that there is a more intensive usage once in a quarter when we need to start working with the planning, and then we are like getting in there and looking at, okay, what are the main topics, the main things that have been happening over the last quarter or month and a half, because we are also like doing rechecks, and then we process this feedback, and that's one of the different inputs that we are taking for coming up with the roadmap. Of course, Olvy is not the only single source for coming up with our roadmap, but it's one of the things that we are taking into account.
Are there any additional insights or experiences that you would love to share with our audience, like just to understand how does it feel like to work with the Olvy team as well, maybe?
Well, so far the experience has been great, guys. You've been super proactive. Again, I can refer to the widget implementation because that's the most recent situation. We had feedback on this, we had some implementation doubts. Even for the specific way we wanted to use it, you guys came up with some workarounds, and it was super fast. So yeah, like great experience.
Perfect. I think this is it. This was like super valuable. I think this would also help our upcoming customers, and even like just to understand like how Olvy needs to be used within different teams. So thanks, Marc. Thanks for joining the call. I think this was amazing, and like I'm pretty sure this is going to be super helpful for a lot of people.
All right, anytime.